could one or both of you, what is the two worlds of the teenagers out here?
Go, Sonia.
Yeah, so what Sasha and I have both been speaking on for the last 17 years around Australia to young people is two different sets of topics. So our backgrounds are quite different. Mine is in hospitality industry, so I worked in nightclubs and I was on the door and behind the bar and, running venues and in that sort of whole industry, and I did that for 10 years. And so I had a lot of stories and lots of information that I felt I could share with teenagers in a way that would actually help them when they started to turn, the drinking age here in Australia and going out to licensed venues and nightclubs and bars and things like that. They could be safer. So,
and what is the drinking age in Australia?
It's 18.
Oh, wow. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry, but I just wanted to get that real quick.
Yeah. So we're quite a lot younger than you guys. But so my topics are all around that: drugs, alcohol, safe partying, night clubbing, getting home safely and what to do if things go wrong. So at the same time that your teenagers starting to think about, going to parties and alcohol being around and drugs being around and that kind of thing, is the time where they're often starting to look for a part-time job or thinking about their future career. And so Sasha's topics take care of that, and she'll tell you about them now.
So my topics are all around careers. So how is it they even come up with the idea of what it is that they want to do? So it's all about exploring what their passions are, what their interests are, and how they can actually turn that into a career rather than actually looking at the careers that are existing right now. It's more about creating something that suits your needs. So it's really about getting them to ask themselves who they are and look at themselves through their own self-awareness, and even speaking to parents and giving them much more of an open scope about where it is that they can go. So in Australia, which I'm sure is probably around about the same statistics, that most likely you'll have about, in your lifetime, have about 29 jobs in about 7 different industries. So it's really gone are the days where, find a job, settle down, climb the corporate ladder, and this is where you'll end up. You can literally go from one industry to another and move around. And what we're actually saying now is that you've got the capability to, if it's not out there, to create it and invent it yourself. So it's really about, the book for us was about, we've been going out to schools and speaking to young people for 17 years. And it was just about saying, well, how do we give this information that we're giving to young people? How do we give that back to parents? So that when their kids come home and say, hey, we've had these speakers come out and tell us all this stuff, most likely it really, not that it goes against everything that they might say, but it's just a whole new world for them. Like, they're not, partying isn't the same as what it used to be. And choosing a career is different to what it used to be. And so we understand, as far as even choosing a career, like, parents want the absolute best for their kids. And so they're going to want them to choose a safer option because they want them to be financially secure. They want them to have a great life. And, and then all of a sudden along comes their child and says, oh, I want to be a YouTuber. And you're like, how are you going to make money from that? And how does this work? And, so it's completely conflicting, the idea of what a parent's actually saying. So it's really about opening them up and saying, hey, these are the two worlds, and they're going to happen at the same time. So they're going to start to push the boundaries of when they're going to want to go out. But then at the same time, you're going to be picking subjects for school, choosing, thinking about a part-time job, for you guys thinking about university and colleges and where they want to go. All of that is really going to get handed to a parent about the same time on this same platter, and it's about how parents can actually handle that.
I absolutely love it. This is the Sonya and Sacha show, national TV and radio directors of Australian Teenage Expo, author of The Two Worlds of Your Teenager. I had no idea. You said 20, the average person is having 29 jobs in 7 different industries. As you were saying that, I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. And I have a degree in economics. and I still managed to be somewhat near that average. We're talking about balance here. We done talked about partying. We talked about drugs. We talked about alcohol. We talked about hospitality. We also talked about careers, which we're going to really dive into in just a moment.